Hey everybody, Rob Ferretti here with my soon-to-be car hauler. This truck, as you know, Dash Hub got me at auction. And Dash Hub provides a way for people to buy direct from auction. Okay, now you have that power. You have the power of a dealer. How do you know whether or not you should be buying a car at auction? The simple answer is if you do not know cars, don't do it. Because you can very easily get yourself a steal. You can get yourself a great buy, but you can also screw yourself. Because if you don't know what you're looking at or what you're buying, thinking like, oh shit, I can go buy a Bentley for $23,000, I'm all over that. It may need $50,000 worth of work for all you know, and in perfect condition, that car may be worth $40,000. So if you don't know how to turn the wrenches and you're sitting there now with a car that's broken, that needs $50,000 worth of work, and this is an actual true story because there's one sitting over at my friend's shop right now. They bought it at auction. They said, what's the worst that can happen? It was an '06 Bentley GT with 74,000 miles on it. The transmission's destroyed. And that's just the start of it. And now you have a transmission on the car. I offered them $10,000 on the car because even if that car was in perfect condition with that mileage, it's 35 to maybe 45 retail if it was mint. And if it needs a transmission, even if the guy paid 20 grand for it, he's going to need a hell of a lot more than $10,000 worth of work. There's no money in that car. He's sort of buried in it. So what do you look for when you're buying a car at auction? And you see pictures and everything. Dash Hub provided me, at least, I don't know if they do this as a service, if it's an upsell, but they provided me, and I'll give you, if you're really looking at something on Dash Hub and you're like, look, I really want to get some eyeballs on it, let me know. I'll put you in touch with one of the guys at Dash Hub. They did a full inspection report on one of the trucks I was looking at before this one. And I was pretty easy because I was looking to replace everything in the back here. So from here back meant nothing to me. So I was looking at trucks with rear impacts because as long as this is good, everything else is being replaced. So what does it matter to me if the bed is crushed, if anything like that, if it took a bump in the rear, all the bumper supports, everything like that's coming out, and I'm gonna elongate the truck and put a different body on it. So I just needed a cab and chassis, essentially, not a pickup truck. This one, we looked at it, good mileage, we did a look, I got the photos of it. They did an inspection report, which is incredibly detailed, and the fact that it was incredibly detailed allowed me to stay away from a previous truck because I wasn't positive that that truck was gonna be the right buy. The rear window was blown out, so it's been raining and getting shit inside the thing, so there could have been mold inside. It would have been quite the project, where this one is at least perfectly sound. It needed some suspension, it needed some cleanups, but it was a much better starting point. And the fact that I know what to look for, what to do, this truck was absolutely perfect for my project. And I was able to save a lot of money. If I went out and got this truck by itself, in retail form, so to speak, on eBay, cars.com, AutoTrade, or something like that, or at a dealer, I would have paid a lot more for this specific vehicle. So now you've decided, hey, I know enough about cars. I know what I'm looking at. I'm familiar with the market. I'm buying it to keep it, or I'm buying it to flip it. If you're buying it to flip it, you got to be really careful. Like, a lot of people think that the market is something, and they may not be familiar with it. They just see what cars list for, not what cars actually trade for. And you got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze. When you buy a truck at auction, the key thing that you want to do is make sure that if you're keeping it for yourself, that you are aware of what it costs to fix, what it costs to maintain, and you know which is a good buy and which is not necessarily a good buy. You have to think of why vehicles end up at auction. A lot of the times it could just be people are lazy. You can have a perfectly fine car that needs nothing. It may even be under warranty, rolls through auction because a dealer bought it, but it's a Chevy dealer and they don't deal with Maserati, so they just roll it through auction, and the person who traded it in didn't care, so they just filtered it through. They sold their new car. They didn't have to worry about inventorying the other car. Now you got a perfectly fine Maserati at auction. But there are people that have a car that, you know what, there's some stuff about this car that makes it not sellable, so I'm just going to kick it down to auction and let somebody else deal with this stuff. So you really want to know what you're doing and what you're looking at when you're buying an auction car. And if you're buying it for yourself, that's possibly the best reason to go shopping for an auction car, is for a build, or a project that you know how to repair something, and you look at an insurance company, a lot of these cars will be in accidents, and the insurance company will essentially just write it off. The insurance company is going to be like, look, it's a $30,000 car, but it needs, according to these 3 shop estimates that we got, retail estimates, it needs $20,000 worth of work. It's worth nothing. They sell it for $8,000 at auction, and now you have a $30,000 car that you may be able to fix for $6,000. So you may be into the car now for $14,000, $15,000, and it's a $30,000 car. It may come brand new with a salvage title at that point in time because the insurance company deemed it too expensive to fix. But that doesn't mean, especially when you start talking about the lower dollar cars, a salvage title, a rebuilt title isn't necessarily something to stray away from. You are concerned about the frame. You are concerned about essentially the frame and the expensive components. If the frame is good, everything else bolts on. Like if you take this bed off and the frame is good, it's great. Like this frame, there was some surface rust on some suspension components and everything like that. See you later. Those things are gone. Those can all be bolted up. But as long as the frame was good, I was in good shape. I needed a good cab, a good frame, and it's a diesel engine with a good transmission. That is a perfect tow rig. So know what you're looking for. Be very specific. If you're going to buy a Porsche, if you're going to, or like a turbo or something like that, you know the engine is expensive or expensive to rebuild. If it's not listed as runs and drives, then you don't know what you're getting. It may be a very good buy, or it may be something you want to stay away from. Feel free to reach out to the people running the auctions if you're going to start dabbling at the auctions. The auction's a great way to get a steal of a car, especially if you're going to drive it. If you buy say a $30,000 car and you're $15,000 into it and you keep it for a couple of years and you sell it for 15, 20, 10, you had a car for a couple of years, it cost you virtually nothing. So buying a car at an auction could be a steal. Just know what you're looking for. Be familiar with what you're doing. Know how to wrench, or know exactly what is wrong on a car and how to get parts cheap if you have to get parts cheap. If you don't, you may be getting in over your head, and you may have to turn around and sell the car right back at auction to somebody else and take a loss on it. So there's a lesson. I hope it was informative. I hope it helped you out. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions specifically to an auction car, I get a lot of people reaching out to me. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? I don't have time to research your car, but you can reach out directly to the guys over at Dash Hub. I'll give you their contact information if you have a specific car you're looking at on their site, and they'll be able to help you and facilitate the sale so you know you're getting in at least to what you are expecting versus getting bit by the unexpected. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Ring the little bell if you want to ring the bell. It'll notify you to future uploads. I will catch you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.